Production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show... And welcome to the show, everybody. It is noon on a Friday. It's noon on a Friday, and I'm glad to be here, and I hope everybody is having a great day, and you're out getting lunch and doing all that you need to do at this time of day. And we got a great guest for you today, and it's actually a big day for me in Radio Land and KKNW Land. So let me talk to Nathan real quick. How are you, Nathan?
Hey there, Kevin. I'm doing well. Happy noon on a Friday to you as well.
Yes, I know. Have are there certain days in your life that mean a lot to you?
Oh my gosh.
Might not mean anything.
Where do I start?
I know. And today is a very special day. You know why?
Happy birthday, Kevin.
No, sorry.
Right? Oh.
That ain't it. Today in 2003 was my final episode that I got to do on KKNW.
Oh.
Yes. And then tomorrow is the 43rd birthday death day of John Lennon. And the first day that the first date I had with my former wife. So the 8th and 9th have been really big days for me, if you know what I mean.
There you go. Well, happy, almost like, whose line is it anyway? You know where they say where everything's made up and the points don't matter. It's like where there's all these holidays to Kevin and they don't matter to anyone else.
Not a bit. And the problem is that none of those things on his face should go, oh, John Lennon passed away, and you first date with your former wife. Oh, that means you got a divorce. And then the last day with KKNW. And I wanted to take a moment. We have got a great guest, by the way. Her name is Allison, and she's going to be with us in just a moment. She is a master at meditation and can help you relieve stress and that sort of thing. As a matter of fact, you might want to go ahead and bring her on now. And Allison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing awesome. I have to tell the story real quick, but I wanted to bring you on so that people can see you and stuff like that. So, but first, so Nathan, in 2003, first of all, I want everybody to know that KKNW is a very unique station in the industry because it's one of the only stations where all the shows are self-funded. What that means is that you have the opportunity to work with the station, buy the time, and put on your own show. And there aren't very many that do that rather than being corporately driven, which most of them are these days. And so it was really fun for me to be able to do Positive Talk in 2003. And, and Nathan will attest to this because we're in the studio a lot, and he spends a lot of time alone in the studio. And you don't really know who's listening or how many people are listening or if what you're doing or what you're saying has an impact. And I want to take you back in the midst of time, back to 2003 to December 8th. And I was told that I was going to have to go off the air for financial reasons. And so it was the last day of the show, Nathan. It was a 2-hour show. And about half hour into the show, I announced that the show was going to go off the air, and the phone lines filled up, and people started calling in, and there was a waiting line to talk. And it was people that were saying, oh, I can't believe you're going off the air. I'm going to miss this show. One lady said, I'm looking at a pile of books that I bought because of your show. And another one said, because of Dr. Nita and Jerry Armour and the folks that you have had on, my health is so much better. And I hope Carol from Bainbridge Island is listening, because she is the one who got me to want to come back and do radio again in Seattle in 2020 and 21. Is that she called up and she said, my name is Carol. I'm from Bainbridge Island, and we're devastated that you're going off the air. And I explained why, and she understood. And I said, but thank you. And she said, no, you don't understand. I'm an Alzheimer's caregiver, and she and I sit here and listen to your show every day. because you can still reach her. And I was so struck. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody was so sad that the show was going off the air and stuff. But fast forward 20 years, because of her, I always had the deep desire to get back and to do this show, especially on KKNW. So I just wanted to say thank you to KKNW for all that you've done for all this time. And if you're a listener of KKNW, please listen and support all the shows, because like what happened to me in 2003, they can suddenly disappear if they can't make the numbers work. So I thank KKNW, and I thank you. You and I have been together for what, 4 years now, 4.5 years doing stuff.
And yeah, if you count the times that you were filling in for the Sunday show Animal World,
Yes.
That's right about that.
Exactly. So it's great fun. I've had a great time being here, and I look forward to spending a long time, because I get to talk to some of the most incredible people on the planet. And one of them is with us today. Her name is Allison Liss, and she is a meditation expert, and she's a coach. Allison, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Kevin. Congratulations on your anniversary.
Such as it is, but there are important moments in your life, and they might not mean, dates may not mean anything to anybody else, but there's a date that will come up and it'll be like, oh, this is that date. I remember, and it's important. It really is important. So, but also during the course of that show, I had some people come on, and we talked about meditation, and because way back in 2003, I don't know if you remember this, but meditation was a newer thing that was out there. A lot of people didn't understand it. They didn't know what it was. They didn't appreciate it. And fast forward 20 years later, Hamilton Meditation Group, which, by the way, you can go to hamiltonmeditationgroup.ca, and you can find out all about her, and you can work with her. And working with you would be great fun, because you are what I would call a master meditator. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, I would call myself that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what part of Canada are you from, by the way?
I'm here in Hamilton, Ontario. We are about an hour outside of Toronto.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. And welcome. I really have been looking forward to this episode. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Kevin.
And when we talk about what you do, what is it that you actually do?
Well, I basically teach people how to meditate. And I have developed a sequence, I guess I would call it, a technique of meditation that has proved over the last 15 years to be quite beneficial and effective. And I mean, all meditation is effective. I'll say that. The idea of being mindful, even. I should actually point out, because some people get a bit of confusion between what's the difference between mindfulness and meditation. Both of those words are thrown about quite a bit, and they're both basically the idea of living in the present moment, the idea of tuning in to the present moment. But mindfulness is where you're involving the mind. It could be a walking meditation, or it could be visualizations and this type of thing. Meditation is actually where you are not involving the mind. And so what I teach is a technique of meditation where you can tune into the other parts of yourself, which do not include the mind, because normally there's a default position. Your attention is always defaulted toward the mind. And so unless you know how and practice how to remove your attention from the mind, it's always there. And basically the mind is the cause of all suffering, you could say. It's the cause of anxiety. It's the cause of depression. Sometimes people mistake and they think that it's their circumstances. when actually it's attention to the mind that we just simply get addicted to, where many people are addicted to their thoughts and the mind. And so the meditation course that I have, or when I sit with people and I teach them one-on-one, it is how to remove attention from your mind.
How do you help people? Because, you know, our lives are so busy. And we're always thinking about what's going to happen next, what we should be doing, what it should be doing something rather than just being here and stuff. How do you help people quiet their minds so that they can really clear out some of the stuff that they need to get rid of?
Well, basically, it's the idea. You have to understand the basic principle, which is that your mind is never quiet. Okay. Thoughts are always coming and going as long as you're alive. If your heart is beating, your thoughts are coming and going. And so it's a misconception that when you're meditating, you quiet the mind. What happens when you meditate is that you remove the attention to the thoughts. And so it's about controlling your attention. And the technique, it has to do with using breath, using the sensations that are naturally in our body, to train ourselves, train our attention to not go to the mind, and to find places where the attention can stay, so that it's not on thought. And when you're in that state, it seems as though you have quieted your mind. It seems as though your thoughts have so-called stopped, but really that's not the case. You've just put your attention somewhere else. And it's a very, very beautiful experience, a very peaceful experience. You're tapping into your natural peace that exists, but that somehow eludes us. And the reason the natural peace that we are eludes us is because we are basically addicted to thought. And so that's the idea. So I teach people how to use their breath. And you don't need any apparatuses or any equipment. I talk about it in a way like it's very similar to working out at the gym. Like, how do you build a muscle? The first day that you go to the gym, let's say, and you start lifting a weight, you have affected your muscles. Something's happened, but you don't notice the results as much as you would, let's say, if you did it every day for 3 months. Then all of a sudden you'll notice, whoa, look at that muscle. It's larger, it's bigger. But it's the same exact thing with meditation. It's one of those things that even when you do it, the very first day you do it, you have done something. You have affected, you've built up your resistance to thought, let's say. And but you don't notice it as much until you practice it for a while. And then all of a sudden you notice at one point is, wow, I am no longer addicted to my thoughts, and I can access this very peaceful state quite easily.
That's really cool. By the way, I got to tell you, I have a good friend of mine that is going to join us right now. Her name is Dana Parker, and she is and I brought her on for a specific reason, other than the fact that I just love her to death. But she also is very gifted at meditation and how to do it, just like you. So she is very involved in this arena as well as you are. I wanted to ask you, because there are people out there, I know it may be hard to believe, but there are people out there who have never even contemplated meditation, because for whatever reason, for religious reasons or for different aspects of their life, it never has crossed their mind, or they grew up in a household where that wasn't the thing and it never became. So can you give us some of the helpful health benefits that come along with meditation, which is why people should practice it on much more regular basis, or if they haven't done it at all, they should start. Could you give us a few of the health benefits that happen with meditation?
Oh, if you're asking myself, yes, it's
Yes, ma'am.
actually quite like it will literally slow down and regulate your heart, I would say. there has been many scientific studies on this, on the fact that meditation is not only helpful for living a peaceful life, but it helps you physically. I have sat with people actually that have measured their blood pressure before and after meditating with me for 30 minutes, and there's a noticeable difference. So it helps with that. Anything that is stress related. So if you can reduce the stress on the body, and all of the health benefits that come with reducing stress are affected when you do meditation.
Now, Dana, by the way, welcome, Dana. How are you? I am so sorry.
Hi.
Somehow I didn't send you the link, and I apologize.
You're forgiven. Totally fine.
Thank you. But from your perspective, how long have you been? I imagine you've been meditating for a long time.
Yeah. I think it's just been part of my journey, a really big part of my healing and what I've done to implement. And it is a big reason why I got certified as a hypnotist, is to help people really get into that state, to know the right kind of language to use to help people. And when they get in those relaxed states, to rewire. And just like Allison said, I've seen huge benefits for myself personally, but also for so many clients. And I mean, even my most close relationships, as I got into a relationship with my boyfriend over the last 2 years and invited him to start practicing, he actually had a hard time going to sleep. And his brain just wouldn't shut off because his brain was just going. And I think there's probably lots of people listening that can relate to that. And that practice of meditation. And just like Allison said, it's just so wise. You're not always going to be good at it at first. It will be hard. It will be hard at first if your brain and your body is not used to relaxing like that, to focusing and letting just those thoughts pass by, to practice these different things. It takes time to build that. But he's been practicing for 2 years, and now he just has one meditation that he listens to, and he's asleep every time before that meditation is over. And it's really good for him. It's really, really good. So the benefits, I'm sure Allison could talk all day, and Allison and I could talk all day about it. But
well,
you
please
got to try it out. You got to try it out yourself to find.
You did remind me when you said that you're a hypnotist. It reminded me of something else that meditation has helped a lot of people with, is getting over addictions.
Yes.
It's actually huge in that, because what you begin to understand with addiction is it's got a massive mental component. Mm-hmm. And so it's some aspects, of course, are physical addiction, but there is a huge mental component. So there's been many people. There are people that have gone to the 10-day silent retreats, and they come back, and whatever their addiction to smoking, for example, or drinking, it's done. Like, it's over. Yeah. Like within 10 days. Right. And so I would say that's another really strong
I agree.
Thing that meditation helps with physically.
Benefit. Yeah.
So Allison, have you gone on that 10-day silent retreat? I believe you have, haven't you?
Yes, I have. That's how the whole journey started for me. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is, a lot of times, it's been my observation in meeting lots of people that meditate, or even, is that it sometimes happens that you're in your life, things happen, you can't take it anymore, and you need help, and that's how meditation often presents itself. And many of the people that I know, that's how it happened. It's not like when you were saying, a lot of people are never going to meditate for one reason or another. I always say, until they have to.
Right.
Yeah. Until every other thing hasn't worked, or until you hit a point where you just can't take it anymore. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you're graced with meeting a person or a situation that helps you to meditate. That's what happened to me. I ended up at a silent retreat, a 10-day silent retreat. And I had an experience there that was shocking, I'll say. Like, I had a great experience in meditation where all of a sudden I was tuned into my own true nature, and nothing for me has been the same since. And when I came back from that retreat, that's part of the reason that I teach meditation and I developed my course, is because I thought, is there a way that I could help people have the same experience without having to go away for 10 days of silence? Yeah, because although I enjoyed the 10-day silence, it's not hard being silent. What the hard part is that you are removed from all distraction. You can't bring a book. You can't bring music. You can't bring a piece of paper or a pencil. And so what we begin to learn about ourselves is that we are so addicted to distracting ourselves. Like even if you say, well, I'm going to sit on the porch and watch, things go, watch just, the day go by. That's really not meditating. So when you're learning to meditate like this, you remove all distraction. And for some people, you actually go kind of crazy at first. Like I was literally, I'm trying to think what you call it, like hallucinating, right before my mind shut off. My mind got really active because what's happening is the mind, which is involving your ego and a whole bunch of other things that are necessary for us to survive. Well, the mind does not want to be ignored. And so when you are beginning to ignore it and you're having success, and let's say for me, I'm 8 days into it and I'm having some success, the mind gets really active. It does everything that it possibly can to stop you from trying to shut it off. And so I literally was having these like I was hallucinating and like it was kind of frightening. And then boom, all of a sudden it stopped. And I experienced this peace, I would say, that every person has. It's in us. You don't have to try to be peaceful. What you have to do is remove attention from your thoughts. And then you notice the peace that you already are. It's not a place to get to. Like I often tell people when I'm teaching them to meditate, we're not trying to get to something. We're not trying to find something. We're not looking for something. Where it's removing attention from those thoughts.
Well, there are people, because I hadn't heard about this until like another gentleman that I talked to went through the same 10 days of silence. And just so that everybody knows what that is that is 10 days where you go to a place and you don't talk at all, to anyone for any reason. You're sitting there by yourself and you don't have a book, you don't have an iPad, you don't have a computer, you don't have a TV. And I don't know that I admire Allison. I don't know that I could do that. And Dana knows me. I can't shut up for 5 minutes sometimes.
Well, as I said, Kevin, the funny part about it is the not talking part is not that difficult. It's actually kind of wonderful because you're with a bunch of other people. And we don't even make eye contact. They even teach you that if you're passing somebody or you're sitting beside somebody during the dinner hour or whatever, you just keep your eyes down. So you're trying to emulate as if you are all alone. And what you find is it's quite beautiful to actually be with people and have no pressure to talk. I call it no pressure to perform. I found it really wonderful. And I talk a lot. And I've had that my whole life. And so almost everybody that knows me goes, oh, how is she possibly going to go to this? And I've gone a few times since then. So I enjoy going, but it's actually a relief to not speak. The hard part about it is that because you've removed yourself from all distraction, telephone, TV, radio, everything like that, which most people never do for very long. So here you're on, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of it. What happens is that is the difficult part. The soul begins to speak, and a lot of stuff comes up. Stuff from childhood comes up, memories, people that you haven't thought of for years. Like I realized that I had very deep insights about myself, my life, my parents, and some of it was difficult to face. You're kind of facing what comes up from the inside. So that part is hard, but the not speaking part is actually, I'm just saying for myself, I find it kind of a relief.
And one of my questions for you, Allison, to share, so as you navigate that and you navigate those things, what, I think some people listening are like, well, then if that's what's going to happen when I meditate, why do I want to meditate? Let's talk about what's on the other side of that. When you start looking at those inside things, when you start looking at those hard things, because a lot of people in this world, a lot of us have done a lot of things to distract ourselves to not look at those things. Why is that? Why is that an issue? And then what's on the other side?
Well, what you find is that when you face something that you have not been facing, it is your, how shall I say, you are, there's no more resistance. And so what I have found is I say it like this, the things you resist persist.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's quite beautiful. You face it, you may have a moment, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it might even be a half a day. You may have these very small moments of just kind of facing these ideas that you had about yourself or others. And then once you have, it's almost like that evaporates them. And the grip that they've had on you for so long, it literally, because you have faced it and because you're no longer resisting it, the grip just kind of can't hold you any longer. And so it lets go. And what you find is that you are now free. And once you're free, you are tuned into a part of yourself that is so whole. It's really quite beautiful. And that's what you experience when you meditate, is you experience this other part of yourself that is, sometimes I like to say it's nothing, but it's not nothing. It's like a nothingness that is so full of beauty, of something. And that something is it's very beautiful. That's all I can say. It's hard to describe. Well, what they say it is the energy of love. Mm-hmm. It's the energy of love. You experience the love that you are, the love that everybody else is. And so what happens is that stuff that you've been refusing to look at whatever, once you do, it kind of stops. You've done it, and then it's replaced with this almost overwhelming feeling of the love energy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what we sit in when we meditate. We sit in that energy undisturbed by those thoughts. And so to me, that's the reason to do it. It's a very short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yes. Yes. I want to second that. Yeah. Short-term pain for long-term gain, for sure. And for those of us that have been practicing this for a while, and even at first, I remember feeling scared. I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, do I really want to open this box? Do I really want to go there? I've been really keeping this in. This has been tight nipped in here. And what's going to happen if I bring this out? And so that courage to do it, it's a short-term pain. There's a finite amount of that pain for the long-term peace.
And sometimes that pain could have actually first time occurred 40 or 50 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly it just, hey, I'm here. Remember me?
Exactly. And those of you that are listening, just so you know, all of us have wounds from our past. Every single person, no one escapes it in this life, that affect us on an unconscious level. And the world, the universe, the world around you is just trying to show you the things in there that are inside calling for your love and healing. And meditation, as you do this practice, you can transcend those things so they no longer affect you. And when you do that, like what Allison said, the most beautiful part is you become connected with the truth of who you are, not those false ideas that you're holding on to that you're so scared are true about you. Those are false ideas that you're unlovable, or that because this happened, that you're not enough, or whatever those stories are, which we all have across cultures, across societies. It's part of the human experience. But you transcend those, you move through and past and beyond those to truly connect to the truth about you. And that transforms individuals and transforms relationships like nothing else on the planet will.
Wow, I
We
think that's very beautifully said. And I would say that meditation, it's actually the gentle way to do it.
Yeah.
It's a very gentle way to do it. And I also just wanted to say too, what I found interesting is when certain things came up for me, it's not the stuff I thought it would be.
Yeah, right.
It's so bizarre because it's not major traumas necessarily. Sometimes it was something really small that somebody said to me when I was like 8 years old that I completely forgot. It didn't even it didn't register with me. Oh, excuse me. And then all of a sudden it came up, you know, when I sat in silence and then you just kind of looked at it and you're like, wow, that's that thing. And you notice it, you have the memory, you face it, and then it goes.
Yeah.
Well, we need to take a.
I'm so sorry.
While Allison gets a drink of water.
I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right. That's the human experience. So we need to take a quick break, and this is just a little short-term pain for long-term gain. And so listen to these commercials, please, and do support us all on this station. We really appreciate it, and it keeps us all here being able to bring exciting and talented people to you like Allison and Dana. So we're going to take a break. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio right here on KKNW 1150 AM.
Do you need to boost your sales? Join our partnership program. Each quarter, we promote 10 partner businesses. What will you get? The company will produce one 30-second video for your business. Your website links on positivetalkradio.net and kmmedia.pro. One dedicated podcast or radio show per month. One video Instagram reel. One YouTube short, one 60-second clip for social media taken from your interview, and at least one commercial airplay per show. All podcast and video commercials are within the fabric of the show and will remain in the show forever. Visit kmmedia.pro to book a consultation today.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal.
For being our appreciated listener, you can use promo code PTR20 at checkout to receive 20% off your order.
anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
We believe in the power of telling your stories. We want to help yours be seen and heard. At the Pacific Northwest Collaborative Magazine, our purpose is to connect you to your community. Let's begin by celebrating the accomplishments of local artists featured in this brand new digital magazine. Here, you can learn about opportunities to creatively come together and support our local community and neighbors through the gift of art and service. If your business or organization would like to take part in this magazine, message us on Instagram at pnw.collab. You can download our free digital magazine at KM Media Pro today.
Thank you to our dedicated fans. We are updating our live on-air schedule to make it super easy for you to hang out with us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Fridays with Kixie 880 a.m. Seattle Live. You can find our library to binge all the podcast platforms. We can't wait to see you at 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting September 4th, Labor Day 2023.
And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and I've got a great show going for you today. I've got two really talented people, and one of the reasons I brought Dana on is because she is very gifted at meditation and also hypnotherapy. And one of the things that I found was that I had something come up for me in a session that is 45 years old. And it was something that really impacted my life. I hadn't thought about it for years. And it just said, hi, I'm here to bother you again. So, and we were able to work through it. And Allison, the meditation works very much the same way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does. I do think hypnotherapy and meditation kind of does go hand in hand. And yeah, it's a little bit, I guess, of a different method or technique, but I think people that meditate should probably investigate, hypnotherapy as well.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
about healing. And
Absolutely. And there's so many pathways for that. And there's so many different unique pathways on purpose, because we're all unique individuals, and different things are really going to work and resonate with different people. And so absolutely there's a space for everyone and everything, because we're all so unique. We have such a unique blueprint and a unique healing path personally.
yeah.
So, Allison, if somebody out there, and there is somebody in their car having a Big Mac or something like, I haven't had McDonald's in a long time. Anyway, they're having lunch and they're saying to themselves, I've heard about this. I've never done it, and I've never really experienced it, but maybe it's a good idea that I invest in it. How do they get a hold of you so that you can kind of guide them through the beginning part so that they can learn how to do it effectively for themselves?
Well, I'm actually pretty easy to get a hold of up here in Canada. You just, I have a YouTube station, Allison Liss. You can email me at allisonliss@gmail.com. My website, which is Hamilton Meditation Group. I have an Instagram, Allison Liss Meditation, where I talk a little bit about the philosophies about meditation, and you can call me as well. My phone number is on my website. So yeah, I'm very easily accessible and happy to help. I also have a course which you can purchase on my website. I sell it. It's 5 audio files. And if you listen to those, I would say daily, you would notice a difference within, I think, 3 months. And they're 5 minutes. I've made it as simple as possible. And the stuff that and my course, by the way, is very tried and true. It took me a long time and many hundreds of people to figure out what is the simplest technique that can teach people to meditate and yet an efficient, how shall I say, efficient way to reap the benefits sooner than later. And yeah, because that was, I think I was saying, like, when I went to my 10-day silent retreat, I mean, that is a way to do it. But I remember thinking, oh, everybody should do this. Every human being has to have this experience. So they realize that we aren't who we think we are, that we are more energy, and we don't realize that. And then I realized right away that I don't know anybody that's going to go on this 10-day silent retreat. Like, it's really hard for most people that are running a household, for example, to get 10 days away, because it's not like a 10-day vacation. It's like you can't even take a phone call, So I just thought, how is it possible that somebody could have the experience I did, a very deep connection in meditation, like very, to get to the benefits, let's say, sooner than later, without doing this. And so I think I discovered by trial and working with many people, and I've helped people that have meditated for 30 years and they never had this deep experience until they took my course. And so that's the reason I'm here and promoting it as much as I can. I'm on a bit of a mission to just try to help as many people as possible have that experience of themselves and have it as quickly as possible.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think I want to mention one of the other reasons to reach out to somebody like Allison, to really look into Allison's stuff, look into her meditation group, and look into these things that she has to offer, is that emotional regulation. I think emotional management and emotional regulation is something that we all deserve to learn. If you're somebody that struggles maybe with anxiety or depression, and you're trying to work on some of those things, which that can be a multifaceted issue going on, because there's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual things that can be going on. But meditation can be a huge answer, a piece of the pie to your answers to help you in emotional management, emotional regulation. And so if you struggle with anxiety, depression, or any of those really emotional, maybe you bottle it up and you all of a sudden you burst out often. That's another thing with emotional management and regulation. If you experience any of those, if you're listening and you're experiencing any of those, look up the Hamilton Meditation Group and look up Allison, because these kinds of tools can really transform that for you. And that's transformational, because our emotional management and our emotional regulation, or a lack thereof, is affecting the next generation. The next generation has more anxiety, more nerves, more issues emotionally than I think ever before. And they're begging for tools. They're begging for support. They need that understanding, but we as adults have got to learn it first. We've got to learn and practice these things, and then share it with the next generation of children and teens and young adults, teaching them how to manage so they don't get so emotionally overwhelmed that they don't want to be here anymore. This is a really important topic and a really important thing to be doing. And your investment in looking into somebody like Allison and looking into this Hamilton Meditation Group could benefit and have a ripple effect beyond you, beyond into your family, into your grandchildren, your children, and so on. And that's huge impact that one click into Allison's website could do for you.
And I want to make it clear to everyone that if you are not hadn't really looked into meditation or any of the other aspects of it, I want to make clear, when we talk about energy, we are all energetic beings in a physical body. Mm-hmm. And our energy can vibrate at a number of levels. It can vibrate at a very low level, or it can vibrate at a high level. And the higher the level, the more I think peace and love and caring that you'll share with yourself, your family, and others around you. So it's a bigger deal than just, I don't know, meditating. It's like
than just a few surface benefits. No, that we're talking major life transformation and the transformation of generations because of the tools that you could learn through looking into something like this. It's the beginning. It's the beginning. To me, meditation, 5 minutes a day. Everyone has 5 minutes to invest in their best self, their best future, 5 minutes a day. And trust me, Allison has done a ton of work to find the most efficient ways that are helping people. Like, don't waste your time searching and researching all the things unless it's really fun for you and super enjoyable. But find an expert. Reach out to Allison, because that's amazing, the kind of research that she's done to find the most efficient ways. To me, that sings to me, because I'm like, yes, efficiency. Let's get this. Let's do this to the very best of my ability in the very best way I know how. And that's why I love working with experts myself personally. And I choose to work with coaches, and I always will, because they've done the research, they've done the work, and it's like, hey, just teach me how to do this in a really great way for myself. I can get the most benefits.
And I just want to mention this as well. And Allison, I think you'll back me up on this. And that is this. If you are at lunch and you're working 9 to 5, and your morning has gone, to put it politely, like crap. You got yelled at, you didn't get the assignment done, or somebody else, whatever the circumstance, then you're feeling at lunchtime, you're feeling down, you're feeling badly. Taking 5 to 10 minutes and to do a meditation in your car, in the bathroom at work, going into the vacant office or whatever it is, it can help you have a better rest of the day. Can't it, Allison?
Yes, it's, I always say that it's actually, although a lot of meditators, and myself included, do have, we sit in the morning and in the evening, what you might call a regulated a practice. I always feel that it's actually a technique for the daily life. It isn't necessarily just so that you're sitting like Buddha in the morning and in the evening. It's mostly that you learn these techniques so that you can bring them into the daily life. That's when they are the most effective. And so there is, I forgot to mention, which I should mention, that I also have a podcast, which is also Allison Liss Meditation. And it's on Spotify and Google Podcasts and where all podcasts are. And I talk a lot about these techniques there as well, by the way. And where these are things that you can do. So for an example, something happens, it throws you off. You're furious for a minute with somebody, or something upsets you, I call it. You have an upset, a disturbance. And there is a couple of techniques that you can do that you immediately do them and they fade away. It evaporates them. And so within 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes you can't even remember what the thing was that got you upset. That's how powerful this stuff is. And it's really quite simple. And that's the reason that I'm trying so hard to spread the word. And I appreciate everything that you also said there, Dana, because so many people, I feel, are needlessly suffering from depression and anxiety. It's unbelievable, actually. And these numbers are increasing and increasing. But wouldn't you think that if everything was working that the doctors were offering us and all of our education and everything we know, wouldn't you think that it should be less and less and less? So why is it that it's more and more and more? That's because people are not doing the correct ways to actually affect the change.
Yeah.
Because what you have to do, and in these techniques that I teach, it's not just a technique and then it goes away, and then it's accumulative, if I could say it like that. It's accumulative until you can get to the point where you might say, oh my, and I mean, I had this experience myself and all the people that I've helped, where you might have like years of feeling sort of what you could call depressed. And it's like that every day. And you're waiting for your circumstances to change so that you don't have to feel this way anymore. Until you realize that it isn't the circumstances. You change yourself first, and then the circumstances will actually change. And what happens is you can do these techniques, and they're very simple, and you almost just have to know what they are and then remind yourself to do them. And that's like sort of the hardest part. Because what we find too sometimes is when we are in our suffering, you'll find that there's a weird thing that happens where you almost want to stay in the suffering. And so I always say, once you know the technique, you then have to remind yourself to do it. And so there is a way out. It's not that hard.
Right. Well, and that even in and of itself is a fascinating topic, and why you would want to reach out to an expert to get help in is if you have reasons why you stay in your suffering. You know, I've had clients who I work with who, when they come down to it, when it comes down to the really truth of truth, they earn love through the attention that they get through their suffering. And there is a better way. There's a better way to feel love, to be love, to have that emotion. You don't have to be in the suffering to do that. And it's really powerful when you can start getting to the roots of some of those unhealthy patterns that actually aren't working very well. Who wants to stay in their suffering over and over and over and over and over again to try to get love? And it doesn't always work. And so it's kind of a broken strategy if you really look at it. But if you can rewire it, tap into love, know that love actually comes from you. It's a feeling inside you. It has nothing to do with the things outside of you. Yeah, experiencing them can bring upon a feeling that you feel inside of you, but that is conjured by you. That is created by you. And it is in you. And so that's what I'm saying, is some of those patterns that people have when they get kind of stuck and maybe even, I would say even Joe Dispenza talks about this, our bodies can get addicted to victimhood. Can get addicted to those emotions. And we can, especially if you grow up in any type of really a lot of trauma, our bodies, that's what they feel safe in, they feel normal in. And it takes time and practice in a meditation practice to rewire that. But it's absolutely possible. And there's a better way that takes way less energy, that is way more fun and enjoyable and peaceful and full of love that can happen. And everyone deserves more of that in their life. And I think everyone at the end of the day wants more of that in their life.
Well, sometimes professional victimhood can have its advantages, because you can always say, oh, look what's happened to me, and everybody can then say, oh, that poor thing, look what happened to her, and oh boy,
Right.
that's just. But that is a short. Isn't that kind of like an adrenaline rush? It's just a short-term fix for a long-term problem. It doesn't really work.
Right. For some people. And I would even dare say a lot of people who do that, they don't even feel worthy of love. So when it comes, it actually, they don't fully receive it or accept it. So it doesn't really do much for them. So they need more. They need more and more and more and more because they're not filled up themselves.
Yeah.
They don't feel worthy of that.
I think for myself, I can say that I never complained, actually. I was a person that never complained, never said, oh, I'm having, a hard time here, or anything like that. So for me, it wasn't about attention. I actually just had a pattern, which I didn't realize I was in. And it was a pattern of just negative thinking.
Yeah.
And then I remember somebody saying to me one day, oh, well, you want to feel that way. And I got pissed because I thought, that's ridiculous. Obviously, I do not want to feel this way.
Yes.
It's these other people that are just, they're not respectful, or they're not, and so I remember the day, I literally remember where I was sitting, and when all of a sudden, and this was in my, when I began learning about meditation and just sitting in this stillness and not really thinking of anything, just training my attention. And all of a sudden I had an insight, and I realized, oh my God, I was wrapping myself in negativity like it was a warm blanket. Like it was comforting me in this really bizarre way.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that. And like I said, if you had told me that, it would have actually gotten me mad, because I did not see that. And it sounds so ridiculous. Who wants to wrap themselves in misery? Like, who finds comfort in negativity? I mean, it sounds bizarre. And this is what I was doing. And without even noticing, it was very unconscious. And so when it came to the conscious level, that is when I was able to see it. The other thing I always say is, you cannot be what you can see. If you can see it, you can't be it. And so for a lot of this stuff, what it is, it's just about bringing awareness, noticing. And so from then on, once I noticed it the first time, that's how I literally got rid of it. I wouldn't even say I got rid of it. It got rid of me. It quit me, because I just started noticing. Every time I noticed it, I went, oh, there I go again.
Yeah.
I'm wrapping oh my God, there I go again. I'm practicing this. And I just had to notice it.
Yeah.
And I never said, I have to change this about I think that's another place where we go wrong, is I have to change this about myself. I have to fix this. I can't be like this anymore. I can't go on like this.
Yes.
This needs to stop. This needs to end.
Yes.
Those are the resistance that keeps it coming. Once you look at it, it's more like, look at that. Look at how I love to enjoy this negativity. Isn't that interesting? I'm seeing it come up again. And you just sort of start noticing it when it comes up. And honestly, it just dissipates. It disappears. And you'll go for weeks without feeling that way. And then all of a sudden, you may not even notice that it has quit you. And then all of a sudden, you look back and you go, oh my God, it's been 3 weeks and I haven't been upset. I haven't had a negative thought. Wow. And you didn't even have to try.
Yeah. I call it loving curiosity.
I love that.
Loving curiosity. Oh, there it is. For me, pride recently. Pride has been one of those things that's been showing up, and it's kind of been shocking me, my own pride. And there are times where it comes up and I'm like, oh, there it is. Okay. Soften my body. Oh, I know that feeling, and I know it's going to come next. So I just take a deep breath, calm my body. And sometimes it takes me a minute, a long minute to really calm down. But it's really seeing those weaknesses in that loving space, that is transformational. If you try to change it, you were absolutely right. I spent probably half of my career trying to change those things. Change it, get rid of it, resist it. No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work, you guys. Don't waste your time.
Because the truth is, it's serving you in some way.
Yeah.
So for all of those things that you say, well, it's bothering me a lot, there's a part of it that is serving you. And so all you have to do is just look at it when it comes up. I love how you said loving curiosity. look at it, be curious about it, notice it. I always say, notice it. Just notice it. That's all you have to do. Don't judge it. Don't call it anything. Don't say, I don't like this or whatever. Just notice it. Oh, there it is again. Look at that.
There you are.
Yeah.
I almost
have a sense of humor about it.
Yeah. The laughter can be good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll notice one day, and one day soon. That's the other beauty of these things we're talking about. They don't take a year. They take, once you've begun the journey, I say, like, in a way it never ends because you just deepen and get better and better and better. So in that way it never ends. But the initial improvement, I'll say, you can notice it shockingly quickly, like shockingly quickly.
Speaking of shockingly quickly, this show's about to end, sadly, shockingly quickly. And it's been a great time. Go to your website real quick again, Allison.
HamiltonMeditationGroup.com and my podcast, Allison Liss Meditation.
And Dana Parker from Inner World Movement, thank you so much for being here, both of you ladies. It was a great show. We really appreciated having you here. And by the way, at 3:00 today, Patty Handy is going to be on Kixie with me. She's a financial coach who works with women specifically to get their finances in order. And even if you don't have that, that hairy guy that is in your house. So take care, everybody. And we'll see you at 3:00 on Kixie. And by the way, be kind to one another because each other's all we got.